All right, story time number two. I want to talk about my guitar influences, and all you guys that watch this video and you play guitar, let me know who your influences are. I'm gonna do this by categories. This could get long because I got a bunch. So let's do metal first. My first two main metal influences are James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett of Metallica. Kirk is what inspired me to pick up the instrument. And then when I heard Battery for the first time, in that opening heavy riff, James is doing that gallop on the low E. It's just fast and in your face, and I was like, wow, I've got to learn that. It's so cool. It was him for the rhythm, and then when I heard Fade to Black, Kirk's solos in Fade to Black, I was like, yes, that's my cup of tea. I love it. So those two, James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett, are first. My second two influences are Mark Morton and Willie Adler from Lamb of God. And I've seen Lamb of God in concert twice. The second time I saw them, I was in front row, and I watched Willie the whole show, just sitting there looking up at him, like just blown away. And I was there, watching them play, and they were stopped after a song, after Walk With Me in Hell. And I looked at him and I go, "Hey, Willie, don't shit your pants." And that's from an old live DVD that I'd heard him talk about that. When he got drunk one night, he did that. And he looked down at me and he goes, "We got an old school fan in front of us." So, yeah, and just listening to and knowing that Willie is self taught like me, I was like, wow, they're just fast. Everything they play is really intricate, and some of the hardest modern metal I've ever tried to learn. So those are my other two in metal. And then I got two more in metal. Adam D and Joel. I think it's Strotzel from Killswitch Engage. Those two. Those two guys, their riff writing and their chord voicings and things they use are just so cool to me. I love them. I could listen to that band all day. And there's two or three other guys I'll throw in real quick. There's Matt and John from Shadows Fall. Great metalcore band. Love those guys. And then there's Buzz McGrath from Unearth. I can't play any Unearth. I can't play like him. But listening to him, like that opening arpeggio section in My Will Be Done, excellent. Awesome. Okay, so that's my metal influences. Now let's go to classic rock influences. My classic rock guitar idol is Alan Collins from Lynyrd Skynyrd. Him, Gary Rossington. Those are the two. Just that down home southern rock sound. Lynyrd Skynyrd is southern rock. And I can play lots of Skynyrd songs. Because down here in the South, when you play classic rock, you play some Skynyrd. And just listening to them and that sound that Gary gets out of that Les Paul. It's a 1958 Gibson Les Paul Standard. He calls it Bernice. Just so cool. And then Alan Collins, watching him play his Explorer, that natural Explorer he had in his Firebird and his Sunburst Strat, and listening to him play like Double Trouble and Every Mother's Son just really spoke to me as a teenager. And my dad plays a lot of that stuff too. And we used to have a little house band that we'd play parties here. And, playing with those guys, you gotta play some Skynyrd, some Molly Hatchet, things like that. So that's my classic rock influences. Really love Lynyrd Skynyrd, even though a few of their songs are overplayed on the radio. They're anthems now. And I've heard them speak on documentaries. They never thought any of these songs like Sweet Home Alabama and Freebird and Simple Man were even going to be heard by anyone. They said we played music because we loved it. And that's what turned me on to them. I was like, that's the reason you should play music. Play it because you love it. And then there's country. Now, I don't have a whole lot of country influences. But the one guy that I really enjoy listening to is Keith Urban. His guitar playing is just so cool to me. The way he can hit his bends and get really high on some of that stuff. Like a step and a half, almost 2 steps, without breaking a string. And there's one song he has, When Summer Comes Around. Near the end, there's a little small kind of solo section, and it sounds like the guitar's crying. And that's what I like, convey emotion in your playing. Feeling. That's what it's about. And then we'll go to shred. Who are my shred influences? Well, you can call it shred or rock, but my main influence for rock guitar is Joe Satriani. Love that guy's playing, man. And I got his Guitar Secrets book. And I opened it, started working on some of the material in there. And it just changed my world. It changed how I looked at guitar. And I was just like, this guy knows what's up. If you want to learn something about the guitar and how to play scales over certain chords and all the theoretical stuff, Joe is where it's at for that. And then there's Steve Vai. I like a lot of Steve Vai stuff. He isn't for everybody, but I like a lot of his stuff. And then there's Paul Gilbert. I can't play anything that Paul plays because Paul is like a machine. Like he's programmed to do that stuff. Watching him play like 16th note triplets crazy fast. And he's just, doing it like it's nothing. And then he's like, let me slow this down for you. And he shows you the pick strokes. Here's the picking pattern for alternate picking that makes this work. And he breaks it down. It seems easy enough. And you can get it at a slow tempo, like 120, 100 beats a minute. But when you pick it up there to like 200, like Paul does, it'll about kill you to play that stuff. And then there is the man. After Paul, there's the one guitar player I've tried to learn for years, and I can't do it. And that man is Mr. John Petrucci from Dream Theater. Now that guy can tell you a story in a song. Nobody has to sing a word. Just by watching him play a solo, you feel it. And if you read the lyrics to the song, get the meaning of the song, you can hear it in that solo. And he's super fast. Like super fast. I know there's guys out there that are faster than he is, but he's clean when he plays fast. Like he is clean, super clean. And one day, I might be able to play some John Petrucci. But I don't know. I got his pick. I thought that was the secret. And I've heard him say on a DVD I have, all my picking technique is managed by my forearm muscle. And I'm like, wait, I thought it was all in the wrist, But apparently that's not how he does it. And I don't know what that means. Pick from your forearm. I don't know how to do that. All of mine is in my wrist, But John, man, he's just like, wow. Great guitar player. And then there's one more genre that I have to mention because I grew up in this era, and that is nu metal. It came out in the early 90s. And the two guitarists that I look up to the most for nu metal are Monkey and Head from Korn. Just that weirdness that they have, and some of the chords they use, and then the groove of their riffs. Whatever makes you move, that's what spoke to me about Korn. And Korn got me through a lot of dark times. When I was going through that bullying, like what I mentioned in my ADHD video, Korn is what got me through all that. Because Jonathan Davis was heavily bullied in his younger days. And a lot of that stuff he talks about in his lyrics. And I felt when I got home from school, threw on a Korn album, a certain song would come on, and I just related to it. It was like, I'm not alone. Somebody feels the same way I feel every day. But they're still around, they're still making it, they're still doing their thing. So Korn really got me through a lot. So those are my influences. And let me know in the comments, man, what you guys that play guitar out there. Let me know who you're influenced by. And what is it about their playing that you like so much? Because there's always something to learn from different walks of life for people. You know, like I listen to a bunch of metal and I listen to a lot of shred music. And you know, Satriani has no lyrics. Steve Vai has no lyrics. That's not for all people. Some people find it pretty boring. I don't get it. But there's a lot to learn from those guys as far as guitar playing goes. So whoever you guys listen to that has opened your mind up to think about the guitar in a different way, let me know in the comments, because I'd like to find some new players to check out and maybe steal some licks from. Well, I wouldn't call it that, but maybe learn some licks from. And now there's one other thing that I want to leave you guys with here. You've heard all my influences, but I want to tell you guys something that I think about all the time. And that is how practicing, like you can practice, right? And I've heard lots of people telling me and telling their friends down in my area, down here where I live, you know, I want to get, let's see, what's a good guitar to mention here? Okay, if I had a Mesa Boogie Mark C2 Plus half stack with all these different effects pedals in front of it, with a John Petrucci Ernie Ball Music Man Majesty, I will be the best guitarist in the world because I have this gear. That's not true. You can have the exact setup that Petrucci uses. You can't play that like him. Because one guy I grew up around, he was a guitar player. And he passed away in 2010. He was a good friend of the family. But he told me, when you play the guitar and you express yourself on the guitar, your tone is in your fingers. It comes down to how the finger touches the wire. Because everybody that plays has a different touch that they put onto the neck. And that different touch, different strings, different picks, all gives everybody their own unique tone. So, all the best gear in the world isn't going to help you play like your heroes. That's what I've learned the hard way. I've got that red Satriani guitar. I can't play like Joe. Like, I should be able to. I have his guitar. It has his strings on it. I have the PV Triple X over here that the JSX PV was based off of. And I was like, I have it. I can play like Joe now. I can't make that guitar sound anything like Joe does. So I was kind of like, oh man, I thought I had it. It's kind of like the pick of destiny, you know. If we could find a guitar pick that can make us play anything in the world, that's the pick to have. That's how I thought about signature guitars back a long time ago. When I got my first Kirk Hammett KH202, his budget model, I got a Kirk Hammett guitar. Now I can play like Kirk. No, man, I really had to practice, practice, practice to even get close to playing how my heroes play. And that's what I want you guys to do out here that are learning guitar or, you know, playing guitar a lot. You've been playing for years. There's still things to practice. So, for all you beginners out there, practice as much as you can. When you come home from school, do all your homework first. All that must come first. Education is no substitute. You've got to have your education, and then once you get your homework done, set up for a couple hours and practice your guitar. And for all the folks out here that are like me, that have a 9-to-5 job, and it's hard to find time to practice, we got to make time to practice, man. And I haven't done it tonight. I should have, but I haven't done it. But I think, you know, structure our practice around our free time, you know. Hour or two a day on an off day, or an hour at nighttime before bed. It's a great way to wind down after a long day of work. So all you guys out there that play, practice, practice, practice. Because practice makes perfect. And the guitar is a never-ending journey. There's always something to learn. So, once again, let me know your influences. Tell me what you guys practice. You know, like, are you working on sweep picking? Are you working on tapping? Are you working on jazz chords? Or some sort of fusion stuff? Classical techniques? Because I need some new techniques to look into and learn myself. So, everybody, have a good night. Take care. Like and subscribe. And practice, practice, practice. Keep shredding it up.